He looked at me across our kitchen table, the same table we'd eaten breakfast on for 11 years, and said, "I found someone who can actually give me the life I deserve." 8 months later, he lost everything. And I mean everything. Stay with me, because the way this story ends is not the way you think it starts. My name is Diane Mercer. I'm 52 years old, and for most of my adult life, I ran the billing department for a mid-sized medical practice outside Columbus, Ohio. Not glamorous work. Steady work. The kind of job where nobody claps for you, but everything falls apart if you stop showing up. I married my husband, Craig, when I was 30. Back then, he sold commercial insurance and drove a used Honda he was actually proud of. We built our life slowly, a modest house, 2 kids we put through college without loans, a marriage that worked because we both showed up for it, even on the days we didn't feel like it. I want to be honest about something before I go further. We were comfortable. Not wealthy. Comfortable. I managed our money carefully, retirement accounts, an emergency fund, a mortgage we could actually afford. Craig used to tease me for being the responsible one. I used to think that was a compliment. Looking back, I'm not sure he meant it as one anymore, toward the end. The change didn't happen overnight. It happened in small comments I brushed off at the time. Don't you ever want more than this? Do you know what Danielle's husband just bought her? Danielle was a woman from his new networking group, a real estate investment circle he'd started attending for business. He came home from those meetings different. Sharper edges. A new watch. Comments about our small thinking. I noticed he was staying out later. I noticed the new gym membership, the new haircut, the way he started looking at his phone like it was a lifeline. I told myself it was a midlife thing. A phase. I was wrong about what kind of phase it was. What I didn't know yet was that Craig had already met her. And what she'd shown him wasn't a better life. It was a very expensive magic trick, and I wouldn't understand that for almost a year. Craig asked for a divorce on a Sunday night in March. No warning, no counseling, no real conversation. Just a decision he'd apparently already made weeks earlier. He said the words that still sit in my chest sometimes. I need someone who fits the life I'm building now. Not someone who loves him. Someone who fits. 3 weeks later, our mutual friend started sending me screenshots. Craig, standing next to a woman named Bianca Reyes, a luxury lifestyle consultant, with a huge following, always posing in front of cars that weren't quite hers, homes she was always just visiting. Everyone assumed Craig had traded up. I heard it directly, at my own niece's baby shower, from a woman I used to consider a friend. Well, you can't really blame him. Look at her life. I didn't say anything back. I just went home and cried in my car in my own driveway before I could make myself walk inside. I'm not going to pretend the next several months were easy, because they weren't. I spent more nights than I'd like to admit wondering what was wrong with me. Was I too plain? Too careful? Too ordinary for a life that apparently required sparkle I didn't have? But somewhere around month 4, something in me shifted. I stopped checking his social media. I started walking every morning before work, just to have something that was mine again. I reconnected with my sister, who I'd let drift away during the last stretch of my marriage without even noticing. I got a promotion I'd quietly wanted for 2 years, office manager, overseeing 3 locations instead of 1. It wasn't flashy. It was mine, and I'd earned every bit of it. I want to say something clearly here, because I think a lot of you watching this know exactly what I mean. Rebuilding quietly, with no audience and no applause, is still rebuilding. Maybe it's the realest kind there is. 10 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from Craig's former business partner, a man named Walter who I'd always liked and who clearly felt uneasy making the call at all. He told me he thought I deserved to know the truth, no matter how much time had passed. Bianca wasn't wealthy. She never had been. The cars were rentals for content. The designer bags were borrowed from a consignment reseller who let influencers style with them for exposure. The luxury condo and her videos belonged to a friend who was rarely home. She had almost $40,000 in credit card debt before Craig ever entered her life, and instead of solving that problem, Craig had started helping fund it. Personal loans. Lines of credit. Money from our old joint retirement account that he'd been slowly, quietly, cashing out for over a year before he ever asked me for a divorce. I sat in my kitchen with the phone against my ear and felt something I wasn't expecting, not rage. Just quiet, cold clarity. Craig hadn't left me for someone better. He'd left me to go finance an illusion, and he'd used money we built together, carefully, over 2 decades, to do it. The full picture became public a few months later, at a community charity gala Craig and Bianca were supposed to attend as the guests of honor for a local business award. I wasn't there. I heard about it the way most people did, through the local business page that covers exactly this kind of story a little too eagerly. Creditors had started contacting the event organizers days before, apparently after Bianca missed one too many payments trying to keep the image going. A local reporter, already digging into a string of small claims filings, connected the dots publicly, right before the event Craig and Bianca were supposed to be celebrated at. Craig lost major clients almost immediately once people in his industry understood how much of his success had actually been borrowed. He lost the downtown condo he'd moved into after our divorce. Bianca left him not long after the money ran out, moving on, I assume, to build the same illusion with someone else footing the bill next time. I didn't celebrate when I heard. I want to be honest about that. What I felt was more like watching a building you always sensed was hollow finally admit it. It's been almost 2 years since the divorce. I bought myself a small house near my sister, nothing extravagant, just a place with good light and a porch I actually sit on. I still run the billing department, now for 4 locations instead of 1. I started mentoring 2 younger women at my office who remind me a little of myself 20 years ago. My peace didn't come from Craig losing everything. It came from finally understanding that I was never the problem in that marriage. I was just the one person who refused to fund a fantasy that was never going to hold up. If you're going through something like this right now, if someone made you feel like you were too much or not enough for the life they wanted, I want you to hear this clearly: real security was never in the photos. It was in the people who stayed when there was nothing to perform for. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.